Well, it's that time of the month again. No, that sounded wrong. How's it going, everybody? Staff Vegeta saying, what is good to all my Super Saiyan homies, here to bring you all sorts of Dragon Ball content, and today we are going to be taking a look at the rough drafts for Chapter 77. It's that time, again, where we get the rough pages for like the first 7 or so pages, or at least 7 pages just from the chapter, just to kind of get things going. Sometimes it's the first 7, sometimes it's a little all over the place, but in this case, it looks like these are going to be the first 7. I do also have the translations from Herms, but there's not much to translate other than really the title, so if we want to look at that real quick, the title of the chapter is going to be Bardock, the Father of Goku, which was the localized name when we got the TV special. However, that wasn't the original name in Japanese, so I just think that's a cool little homage, at the very least. A lot of people are like, oh, they're repeating themselves. I just think it's a cool little callback. So as we start looking at stuff, we can see we have the Cerulean planet, and we see them just kind of sitting there peacefully doing their thing. I don't know if they're like farming or whatever, and we see this one dude kind of pointing off in the distance, being like, whoa, what's going on up here? And it seems like almost immediately the Ceruleans, the Namekians that are kind of living on this planet, just living in peace, notice that there are these Frieza ships over here, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Frieza saucers going on. I actually think this is Manito that we're seeing over here, and so we're really seeing truly from his perspective what happened, what's going on. So we do have all these little Saiyan pods then crash down as well. It looks like there's just 5 pods, so I'm guessing that means that Team Bardock is the ones who did the invasion. They just came in with whatever Frieza Force grunts that they had at their disposal, and they were kind of like, I guess, the elite squad for the mission. So that's what it looks like for right now, at least, that there's just the 5 pods going down. Maybe there's a little bit more to it. And then we can just see them turn into great apes pretty much immediately as I'm looking down into the crater. And that is such a terrifying sight that they just like look into those holes to be like, what just fell onto our planet? And then all of a sudden the great apes show up. That's insane. Like, that's just such a terrifying thought. And when that gets animated, that's going to be such a powerful scene. The other thing that I think is really powerful about this is that we're actually seeing the initiation of a Frieza Force invasion. Up until now, we've kind of seen just like the end or like the midst of battle for a Frieza Force invasion. We've never really seen the initiation of an attack. I guess maybe you could say when Vegeta and Nappa destroyed the Arlians, maybe. But when we have whatchamacallit, we never saw Frieza do his initial arrival on planet Vegeta to be like, hey, this is mine now. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, I mean, unless that's what that's supposed to be in Dragon Ball Super, but I didn't think it was, because they were already under King Cold's boot heel. So we never get to see the Cold Force take over Planet Vegeta. We never get to see the start of the fishy I can see the future people in the Bardock special. We don't get to see the start of that invasion. We actually end up getting to see the conclusion of all that. And they even put up a bit of a fight. This is just the pure raw terror of a Frieza Force and Saiyan invasion of, we're coming, we're destroying your lands, we're killing your people, this is mine now. So that's pretty crazy, pretty terrifying just to kind of see the full force of this. Over here we kind of see some Frieza Force characters dropping down, and I want to say I do recognize this character over here with the horns, or at least the design. Maybe he just looks similar to one of the Garlic Jr. people, like one of the people from his force, but this guy over here looks like he could be maybe Apool or Raspberry, one of the two, I'm thinking. And then based on these next shots we can see obviously the Great Apes smashing up the town, but this little shot of the Frieza Force kind of rounding up the civilians, I do actually think it's Apool based on this little helmet we've got there. So it does seem kind of like we'll maybe see a couple of familiar characters along the way. I was kind of hoping maybe we'd see like Shugesh and Tora and the rest of the Bardock, or Team Bardock, but it does not look like that is going to be the case, at least not as like regular Saiyans for right now. Once again, we kind of get to see the sheer terror of the Great Apes over here, just kind of lifting up a building and attacking whoever's in there. And then we actually see kind of, it seems like this is Manito over here. And yeah, it definitely is. And he's being entrusted with the Dragon Balls, because that's what we're, at least from the summary that we got from Herms, that's what's going on over here. This little Namekian dude over hither that is dying on the ground seems to be entrusting the Dragon Balls, the little tiny ones, to Manito over here. And then he's off. And so we've got a little bit more damage obviously going on from the Saiyans, and the final 3 or 4 panels that we've got over here is Bardock going full King Kong on top of this building. We can tell it's Bardock, obviously, from A, the scar on his face, and B, the armor matching up to the armor that he's got in Dragon Ball Minus and Dragon Ball Super, which I think is just a nice touch. Obviously, it makes sense to update the character model to the new one. I just, I always like to see when they actually pay attention to little details like that. And then we see this little person in the last panel over here. He seems to be looking around off in the distance for whatever reason, whether he's looking out for civilians to try and minimize the casualties. Not quite sure, but we know that Bardock is like Vegeta and has some cognitive control over his great ape state. So definitely we know that because he ends up saving people at the end of the day, he's probably looking out to we can at least assume for civilians to try and minimize the casualties, not like powerful leaders or anything like that. And I think this little blur that we've got over here running off is Monito, and we'll probably see how the two of them end up linking up with one another, as well as Granolah and Granola's mother. And maybe we'll even get confirmation on whether or not Granola's mom was killed. So yeah, with all that in mind, I think that's that on that. Not really much else to add. Really excited to see a Frieza Force, a full force Frieza Force invasion take place, and get some more information on what's been going on with Bardock, or what went down with Bardock 40 years ago. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please consider hitting a like if you did. It says it over down there in the corner of the new overlay. So yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.